welcome everyone starting the 2015 here season. I'd like to start first just by remembering Bob Berry Jr., fellow reporter of all of you out there and friend to so many, and I had the chance, of course, to work alongside his father for such a long time. Just a great man, and then got to know Bob Jr. and just such a professional in every aspect. And though I'm on the other side of the podium, I always had great respect for Bob and Jr. and Senior, and loved working with him. And again, miss him, and just want to continue to pray for his wife Gina and their family. And again, I just starting the year off, we'll miss. I know I'll miss seeing Bob Jr. whenever he was around, and we had a chance to catch up. Starting the year off, I'm excited to be beginning game week. I know everybody is, players, coaches, and everyone around the country. You've been going against each other now for 6 practices, and now you're finally getting to work on someone different, and focus on them and get a chance to play. And and hopefully see some of our new phases and wrinkles in what we're doing. Hopefully that we come out and we see the production that we want. I feel very optimistic about the way we have practiced here through the two-a-day sessions, or the more like summer sessions, since we don't have many two-a-days. But I feel like we've really made strong progress in a lot of areas. First of all, I really believe we're as healthy as we've ever been coming into a year with the number of – we actually had more players ready to play today than we did when we started 30 days ago. So with the addition of a few guys, and kept everybody else healthy. So I think the only guy we're missing is Jordan Smallwood, and he's progressing just fine and right on schedule. Feel like offensively, Coach Riley and the offensive staff have really made great strides in where we're at, with the offense and understanding it, and run and pass. Feel like we've made a lot of big strides in the secondary with the added maturity and with these guys and experience on the field. So we're anxious. Akron comes in, Coach Terry Bowden. Long time, great reputation as a coach, long-time coach, and I've known Terry a long time, excellent coach, and he and his staff have been improving Akron, the last couple of years, both years 5 and 7. They did go to Pittsburgh last year and win, which is very notable. And had a tight game with Penn State, I think 21-3 maybe, something like that, 21-3, 24-3. Very close game there as well. So we know we've got to, as always, focus on ourselves being absolutely as good as we can be, and that's what we'll try and do practicing here this week.
One of the most competitive position competitions you've had is in your kicking game. Have you made a decision which way you're going to go there?
Yes. We're it's been a really close fight. Nick has done well kicking off. And, so we're punting-wise, also Jack Steed has done really well. But yeah, Justin is Seibert, not Siebert, is really, he's earned that job. We decided that over the weekend, just visiting Coach Bulware and I, and Austin has, earned the job, the field goal and punt. And we'll let Nick continue to do kickoffs, but we feel just over a good number of practices he has his averages and consistency have just been a little bit more. So yeah, Austin Seibert will be the guy. Those other guys are going to continue to go though, because they're close enough and they've done a good enough job that it isn't like they're out of it. So we'll just see how it goes with that start.
Predictions for this team seem all over the place, from Final Four playoff to 4 or 5 losses. What's your read on this team?
Well, we'll see. We've got to go earn it. It doesn't matter what everyone says now. It's all that matters is, you know, how we practice and compete each week, and we, you know, play smarter in areas, you know, not have, you know, missed assignments, and can we play, you know, physical and play the right way. So we've got to go prove it. So it doesn't matter what everyone says, you know, we're going to play, and we'll see.
Trying to think, I think maybe early in your time here, you maybe tried to use maybe Jeff Ferguson tried to kick field goals along with punting, but
yeah, we've had a couple.
But it's never really seemed to work out. I mean, that seems to say something pretty special about a guy that can do
Yeah,
it.
he's really, you know, got a great mentality about it all. He's been confident about it. He's hit him well. I mean, like I said, he went out the other day. We were in the stadium simulating a scrimmage, or, you know, to win we had a 2-minute drill. That's what it was in the middle of practice, and to win it, you know, had to kick a 52-yard field goal and put it right through. So, you know, hopefully he'll continue that way. But he has managed them both to this point really well.
Bob, at linebacker, you have, with the addition of Frank, you have some real great competition there. What's going to be the situation there?
Well, you know, we're going. All those guys will play. Jordan Evans, Dominic Alexander will start when the first depth chart comes out. Frank had a slight pulled muscle and missed a fair amount of practices with that, but he's 100% now. So, but he'll be able to rotate in there.
You hear people like Barry Switzer say that Joe Mixon's the best back since Adrian Peterson. Heard some comments from your assistant coaches. What do you expect from Mixon this year?
Well, you know, Joe's had a great camp. He's really worked hard, and you know, makes plays every day, running in. He got great vision for cuts, and strong and powerful too. Catches it well, but you know, Samaje's pretty special in his own right, and you know, so right now, you know, you know, there isn't anyone that's removed Samaje from being the top guy, but, you know, we'll see how things go, and if both of them, I believe, will really complement one another really well because of the pace of play, hopefully staying on the field, and you know, and they both really work well together. So it's been positive.
Any other announcements of starters that were in question, like offensive tackles?
It'll be Orlando Brown and Josiah St. John's. I'm going to release this later. I got it to my secretary a little bit late for this, but Jonathan Alvarez will be at guard, Ty Darlington and Nila Kazatati at the other guard.
Haven't heard much about Alvarez. Can you talk about him?
Jonathan played last year sparingly as a true freshman, but he's a really good player. He could play center or guard. He's had a great camp. Again, he's the only, I believe, true freshman a year ago that, you know, that Coach Biedenbow had ready to play. So good player, and has had a great camp.
Talking to freshmen, what true freshmen are going to definitely play?
Of the secondary guys, Khalil Houghton, Will Sunderland, P.J. Mbanassor. Did I miss one? Who else?
McKinney?
Yeah, Prentice, McKinney. Prentice is also going to play. Dahu Green and A.D. Miller. Q Overton. Am I missing anybody else? Ricky DeBerry. Also. And Drew Samia at right tackle. Has had a really impressive guy. Really been excellent.
What's been so impressive about Drew?
Just everything. Size, his footwork, his agility and movement for an offensive tackle. Strength.
What's your comfort level, Bob, going in right now, replacing all the guys up front? Offensive line.
I feel great. Orlando Brown, I've bragged on for the last couple of weeks, has had a great camp and has really worked hard. And he's got the strength and frame for it, 6'8", 340, and moves well. And Josiah's a senior. You know, Josiah's played for us some last year, and when he has, he's played well.
Would you say this offense would make it easier for newcomers or harder, or is it?
I don't know. It's always, I don't know that it's easier, but it's fairly easy to pick up on this offense. Yes, and yes, very very. You know, and the repetition you get in it, and the consistency you get in it, it does allow for guys to catch up on it quicker maybe than some other offenses.
What about your receivers?
They're doing well. A couple guys, Dallas Todd, Jeffrey Mead, a couple of big receivers have really come on. D.D. Westbrook is a really exciting player. You know, to go with, everyone knows Sterling, Deron Neal have been steady back there. Micaiah Quick's a guy that, Jarvis Baxter is a guy that's gotten better, a new guy that also has a lot of quickness. So we'll rotate all those guys. They'll, you know, in the way we play, all those guys will play.
What's your first group? What's your first group of receivers, and maybe your first couple of guys that you'll?
Deron Neal, Sterling, D.D. Westbrook, Jarvis Baxter, depending on the formation, and you know, Jeffrey Mead, depending on the formation.
Andrews in the mix?
Andrews gonna. Yeah, I should have said Mark Andrews definitely will be a mainstay in that group.
How has D.D. done since he got back? I know he missed a little bit of time.
He's been great. He's, you know, D.D. has, you know, quickness, competitiveness, makes tough catches. He's been really good.
I noticed earlier this week you've gotten really good at saying Obo's name. I don't know if you want to talk about him, but
Obo's done, you know what Obo's, Obaniah Okoronkwo, right? It's for his parents to hear, you know, Obo's, yeah, but Obo's been awesome. I've had a bunch of compliments for him the last couple of weeks. What I've been so pleased with is his understanding and discipline in assignments, and being where he should be and supposed to be, and knowing when he's contained, when he's spilling, when he's, you know, just all of it's been really positive, and to go with a lot of, you know, quickness and ability to rush. So he and Devontae Bond are also going to be, you know, out there at those outside backers making a difference.
I know. How much can you get out of Austin Roberts early, you know, since he hasn't been here for a real long time?
Yeah, we'll see. And those other guys have done well. You know, Matt Diamond's really come on, and you know, Dwayne Orso's made good improvement. But you know, we really, you know, he's done a really good job. So he's in the mix there with those guys.
Bob, you mentioned just how everybody is anxious to get going. But for a guy like Joe, who comes in as a 5-star, I'm sure expecting to play, then they spent this last year with basically his life defined by what happened off the field. Have you sensed just how he's approaching things, getting ready for this game?
Yes, he's been terribly excited, but he is every day. You know, he's one of those guys. I described him like Eric Stryker. There's some guys that, you know, the best part of their day is out there sweating and playing football. You know, and believe it or not everybody is that way, but some guys are, and they're usually those energetic guys that just enjoy the game so much. And so he's like that a lot, but I sense that he's really anxious to be back out there and with his teammates.
You mentioned he and P-Ron complement each other. Will they play together in the backfield together at the same time? Or?
They could play together at the same time and rotate. You know, so there'll be plenty of snaps for both of them.
Bob, do you have a philosophy on a season opener, or how much you want to put out there just schematically?
Yeah, we've always been a little bit guarded that way, not to, you know, show your hand. There's some things there's a balance you want to work and get better at for the next game. There's other things you just feel why put it out there? You know, you might as well. You know, so we've always tried to have some type of balance. So we pay attention to it, just what you're saying, how much we put out there for everyone to see.
Bob, Samaje spoke so glowingly of Joe when he was up here earlier. He said, I'm not not trying to joke around. He was so complimentary of him. Does that say more about Samaje, more about Joe, their relationship? I don't know.
I think both of them. It says that the respect that's there for one another, and the appreciation for the other guy's gifts. And I think it also speaks to the culture here. You know, DeMarco Murray and Chris Brown were the same way. They were inseparable when they were here, both 1,000-yard rushers, and you know, on an excellent football team. And you know, our quarterback battles have generally been that way. So anyway, I think it speaks to both of them, just that there's a respect and appreciation for each other.
How hard do they push each other in practice, Samaje and Joe?
You know, they both play hard. You know, I don't know if it's pushing each other or that's just their personality. Is they're gonna, you know, they play hard. They work hard at practice, and they focus and concentrate, and you know, they're really good examples of how to practice. I don't know if it's so much pushing each other as this is how it's what they do every day.
What about your defensive line, Bob, and who's in the rotation? Who's starting, who's in rotation?
Matt Romar, and then, you know, inside, and then Matt Diamond and Charles Walker also at one of the other tackle spots. The two of those guys, Charles Tapper and Stryker outside with, you know, with a host of guys, you know, Bond and Oboe both, you know, rotating in there. DJ Ward, Austin Roberts, along with Tapper, will rotate in there. We've got a lot of guys. Dwayne Orso inside at the D tackle to go with Walker and Diamond. Jordan Wade behind Romar with Q Overton also rotating in there. So it's it's a really good group.
The secondary
showed you to maintain his spot as one of your top receivers, given all the competition that came in and all the young guys that are competing to get in there.
And who'd you ask about?
Deron Neal.
Deron Neal, he's continues to, you know, to make plays and, you know, and work hard, and so he's a guy that's, you know, that's in there with, you know, he'll start, but he's in there with that rotation with all those guys. And the way we'll play, we'll use a lot of guys.
Considering how high Trevor was after the Sugar Bowl, how was he handled, you know, having to be the backup? Yeah, I know he's a great team leader.
As you'd expect, just as a, you know, like a professional, he just, you know, he comes every day with a positive attitude. He's upbeat. He's getting other guys excited for practice and going, and supports Baker, and they all support one another. So he's handled it like you would, you know, think he would, like a captain, and that he's going to continue to work. If his shot comes, you know, as it may, he'll be ready for it, and he's going to keep getting better. And, you know, and I've said it a lot, he has really grown in this system in this period of time, you know, in a really positive way. And I think just moving forward, the more consistency he gets in it, it's going to be good for him.
Is that
There was
rare for
speculation.
backup quarterbacks to have that attitude? I know it's such a competitive spot.
You know, and it's not rare, but it's different because of having been a starter, having won the Sugar Bowl. Last year wasn't what any of us wanted, not his fault. There's just all of this to, you know, that is, you know, was a captain a year ago. So sure, you know, why would he be a captain again? Well, you know, that's how the players wanted it. That's how it is. So it's just different in a lot of ways. It's not usual, you know, how things all go. But he's as positive a guy as you could ever be around, and still a leader, and he's still going to work hard to improve, and hope, you know, as time goes, we'll see.
You've changed offensive coordinators before. How do you feel about where you are at this point in the process compared to times that you've done it before?
I feel great about where we're at in the process with the offense and with what Coach Riley's doing with everybody.
What will measure its success if it's not just points? Or is it just points? What do you want
What
to
else
see?
is there?
I don't know. Third down conversions, maybe, or I mean.
None of
hold
it
the
matters
ball
without
for
points. That's the bottom line. In today's world, that's what matters. So.
Bob, was the spring, was it where you really learned what Mark Andrews could do in this offense? I mean, with the start, you had an idea you could use him?
Yeah, no,
He really showed you something?
we were all high on him, on the way he worked and everything that he did as a redshirt guy a year ago, and then everyone watching him in the winter conditioning, running, and his size is unusual, and great hands and all of it, you know, that you could tell our offensive coaches, you know, were excited about the possibilities with him, the different things that he can do because of the size to go with the hands. And so, you know, and then you start to see it in the spring, but we anticipated it ahead of that.
Bob, is seeing discipline from Baker in where he goes with the ball and when being decisive, is that one of the biggest things you're looking for Saturday?
Absolutely. You know, is he with Coach Riley, and is he, you know, going through his progressions and his reads the way he should be, and is he, you know, putting the ball in harm's way unnecessarily, you know.
Bob Baker has Big 12 playing experience. Do you anticipate any butterflies at all as he makes his first start here?
Oh, I would anticipate butterflies, sure. You wouldn't be human if you didn't have them, you know, so hopefully he has them.
Bob, in your secondary, you returned a lot of guys that played a lot last year. You said a few weeks ago you see some growth out of them and growing up a little bit. Could you talk about that group and how you feel like things have gone there?
Well, there's just overall the maturity in two true freshmen, Jordan Thomas and Stephen Parker, who are very talented guys that are just now so much further along in understanding of not only defenses but what offenses are trying to do to them, and that takes time. But they've really played well, and you know, Stephen plays a couple of different spots and has really showed up, you know, and every day in practice. So those guys, along with, you know, the two Ahmad Thomas and Atari Bird, who were two true sophomores a year ago, are same thing, just more, you know, just more experienced and making more plays. There's better communication in all of them talking to each other and making sure they're on the same page to go with Zach. And it's been much, you know, there's been much more discipline that way because of the communication between them's a lot better.
What was your first meeting like with Baker? Like after the Sugar Bowl game, the rumors that he was going to walk on, yet all these quarterbacks here. What was your first meeting with Baker?
I just met him right up here. We had our team meeting for whatever reason. We were up here, and he came walking up to me. He said, "Coach, I'm Baker Mayfield." I said, "Well, I've heard about you." Yeah, so that was it. We talked for just a little bit. I told him I was glad he was here and looking forward to working with him. And that was ahead of like winter conditioning and all that. I left, I'm sure, right after that and went out recruiting, as we were still recruiting at the time. And it was just one of a brief moment, or getting the team back together after being back, you know, for the next semester. So, but that was it. And then started, you know, talking to him during our workouts.
When did you decide he's going to be on scholarship?
After we watched him play last year, and you know, after we, you know, watched him out there at practice.
You've been at the same place for much longer than most people stay at one place. What keeps this from becoming mundane for you? What keeps this interesting?
Are you kidding? I got to go out there in front of 85,000 people here Saturday and hopefully play well. Nothing boring about that. So it's exciting, and it always is, you know. And I'll be as anxious Friday and Saturday as I am every year at the start of the season.
You talk about the importance of the league stepping back into a more prominent role, because in the pecking order, Big 12 was up there 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 for quite a while. Right now, it has slipped. Can you address that?
No, I mean, I'm not into from year to year. One conference, you know, conferences are stronger than others. I think you're at a natural disadvantage when there's only 10 compared to other conferences have 16. I mean, I don't need to tell you that. Do the math, right? I mean, they got more opportunity. So, you know, some of that, unless you add schools, you know, doesn't change. But when you look at the quality, you know, there's a lot of excellent quality. I think we've got 2 in the top 10, right? I mean, so, or you're ranked very high, maybe in the top 5. So, you know, again, we're a year removed from being 6th in the country and winning the Sugar Bowl. That wasn't, you know, we haven't gone 8-5, 2, 3, and 4 years in a row, right? So I got to remind people of that. So, so anyway, you know, but the number of schools right now isn't changing.
Last time we talked to Mike, seemed like he really bought into the idea of being up in the booth. Was that something that you talked about after the season, or is that something you guys have kind of been throwing back and forth for a while?
Well, I just, again, it's something we've talked about, but it more than anything, the teams go so fast anymore, and no one huddles, and there's guys running on and off the field. By the time you can communicate, you know, which personnel groupings it is, it just, then you have to get your call in. It's just harder. This, you know, now he sees it all. It's just been much smoother in our scrimmages, you know, that part of it, in that way, processing your call, because you know the personnel groupings now, processing your call is quicker, and getting it out to the players is quicker. And to me, that's a big deal in today's game.
When you were D coordinator, where were you on the sidelines or in the box?
I was on the in the box my entire Kansas State career, and I was on the field for 3 years at Florida. But everyone huddled too.
From those days at Florida, do you remember Terry Bowden and the Auburn offices, that, you know, when spread offices started to become a thing? Did you have any early impressions of that, and how much quicker the game has gotten since today? I
remember. Fortunately, you know, you only remember good memories. We played Damian Craig in Auburn and sacked him 10 times, I think. So that was all I remember. You know, we won a big game because our back was against the wall and we needed it. So.
Bob, you have any clarity on Devontae Lampkin's situation regarding Texas and his release from that?
No. As far as I am, last I understood, they had not released him, but for some reason, I don't know how, they've been in school and they have not denied his admission. But that's, you know, that's not for me to, you know, to decide.
When you talked about Mike being upstairs and being able to respond quicker, I immediately thought of that opening drive Baylor had in the second half. Here, given where he is now, would that be a place where you react quicker? And
he couldn't make a play that day.
Okay.
He and I we hadn't made plays in a long time. So still you got to have guys on the field that are going to make a play.
When did Jarvis Baxter show up on your radar, Bob? Your coach, you guys?
Kind of midsummer. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned you're talking about the young guys in the secondary taking a step up. Even the receivers like Mekhi Quick played last year, Mark Andrews didn't. When they make a step up, is it more mental, physical, confidence?
Usually mental and confidence. You know, it's just understanding of the game and the confidence to play at a certain level. It's usually, but you know, but it's also physical. I mean, again, I remind people, you're dealing with an 18-year-old guy who, you know, now he's 19, or a 19-year-old, now he's 20 and 21. These guys at this age don't stay the same. If you ever see pictures of their freshman year and you see them when they walk out of here as juniors and seniors, I mean, it's a big transformation, right? I mean, there's no comparison. So, you know, you know, again, you're not talking about NFL guys that have been playing, you know, he's been playing 4 or 5 years in the NFL. Is he going to be much different the next 4 or 5? Probably not. But guys at this age change.
What's the difference between Jordan Thomas and Stephen Parker?
Well, what about the difference?
Well,
I've spoke to that already.
Right? Yeah, they changed that much.
Yeah, they've changed drastically. I mean, they're stronger, they're bigger, but mentally, they're much further, you know, along, and understanding too what offenses are trying to do to them.
Bob, do you have any thoughts on punt return game?
Sterling, you know, is he and Zach Sanchez have been steady at it, but Joe Mixon also is very natural at it, and he may end up taking that over possibly.
Bob, with the
Devontae Lampkin situation. Have you ever dealt with something like that from the other side, where a kid signed with you and then didn't qualify?
I'm sure I have.
I'm just wondering how you.
I've had a policy here, and I'm not saying anything about Texas, because I like Charlie a lot. Everybody has whatever their reasonings are, but I've never once here denied. I've released everybody here fully for going on 17 years. So no matter where they've gone.
Why has that been your policy? And we've seen some other coaches restrict it a little bit.
Well, and I understand why they have. I'm not criticizing anyone who hasn't. If I've, because when you invest a scholarship in a certain position and you're full at that position, you stop recruiting other players at that position. Now all of a sudden that guy runs out on you. Now you're left a little bit short. It's happened to me at running back before. But so I understand where guys haven't. So I'm not. I don't know that I should. So I'm not sitting here beating any drum like I'm the way to do it. I totally understand why other coaches wouldn't. So I may someday too.
Is Lampkin on scholarship yet, or are you working on that?
Yes, he is.
Well, it seems Sterling Shepard has kind of gotten lost in the shuffle. I don't know if it was because he was injured late and kind of went downhill because, just wasn't able to produce like he did early. But what are your thoughts on him coming into this year in this new system?
He's exciting. I mean, he's had a great camp, fast, making plays. He is, again, I remind everyone, was averaging over 130 yards a game a year ago in every game before he got hurt. And so he's still going to be a big play guy for us, and can't say enough good things about him. He's put himself in position to have a great year.
Who's returning kicks with Ross?
Daniel Brooks will be back there some. Joe Mixon some. Rodney Anderson. All the running backs will have a hand in.
Anderson's definitely going to play then.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything jump out at you since camp started that maybe you weren't expecting? Good, bad, whatever, or just something that maybe?
I can't think of anything.
Player or individual maybe that stepped up that you mixed.
Well, like I said, a pleasant, fun surprise was definitely Orlando. The way he's played, Big O, and Austin Roberts, adding to that group was a big plus. Pleasing to see the quality of the freshman secondary. They're really an athletic group.
Figured out how you're going to manage having a couple boys playing high school football this year?
I haven't figured much about that. I'll see what I can. Like for instance, I'll be able to see Thursday here. And then after that, we travel and leave. We'll travel and leave. I won't see every game, but they're used to that. I haven't seen everything for a long time, so they please themselves. And I'll go to as many as I can, but I gotta do my job first.
Is there any? I'm wondering about the energy in the coaching room. You have new coaches. You have coaches in different places. Does it feel different? Does it feel fresh? I don't know. Very intangible question.
It feels good. I mean, I feel very positive about it all. I don't know what word you were looking for, but I mean, it feels good. I'm excited about it. In other words, I'm pleased with what we're doing, and the communication, all of it.
A lot of fathers try to coach their sons. You are a coach. How do you not, do you just when you watch a game, do you just sit and watch and don't give any pointers about how to do stuff? Or?
I don't do much. They've asked me from time to time if they're at practice or, little hints here or there, that I do. But it isn't much. They don't walk in the house and sit down and have an hour film session with me. So, but, you know, when they want to know something, of course I do, you know, but, and, you know, my coaches do. They do a good job when they do hang around to listen to, you know, my assistant coaches and the players will give them some tips here and there when they are at practice, which isn't very often, but when they do, they pay attention to their positions and what's being said, you know, that kind of thing.
Can you not be a coach when you're a spectator? I think a lot of coaches probably struggle with that.
No, I think us coaches like sitting there and being a spectator and watching your child instead of, you know, thinking you got to get down there and coach them all the time. I don't. We coach enough, so you know, and we respect their coaches. You know, we don't maybe saying something different than what their coach is telling them, and so you don't want to be in the way that way either.
Do you get nervous, or do you leave that to Carol?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't get too nervous. They're not yet anyway. So we'll see. Yeah, I haven't, but maybe now that they're starting to play high school, I may find myself a little nervous. Doubtful though. Doubtful. All right. Thanks.